Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we've got Joe Nash. Joe, so good to
Hello.
have you here. How you doing?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I've been excited about this all week. Oh God, I can't wait.
I've honestly, every time I talk about what shows are coming up, I look at this episode and I just feel this mixture of excitement and terror and this is something that is both very familiar to me. I know the game Snake. I had one of the Nokia bricks when I was in high school. I know JavaScript, which I know is what we're gonna work with today. But I am not a game dev, and so I am very worried that I'm going to make a public fool of myself today. So I'm super excited about it. But before we talk about that, let's talk about you. For folks who aren't familiar with you, do you want to give us a little bit of a background on yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. I'm a developer educator at Twilio, where I work on another programming game, Twilio Quest. Prior to that, I've been doing the DevRel thing, helping developers for a number of years now, working at places like GitHub and on my own as a consultant for a little while. And I dabble about and cast this weird programming game called Battlesnake, which I'm very excited to talk to you all about. And non-programming wise, I carve spoons. That's my current thing.
That was like, you can't just casually drop that in and not volunteer more information. So like you just get a block of wood and you make a spoon out of it?
Yeah, you get a log and you just guide it with a knife. It's very if you've been spending, this current period being like, I want a hobby that's not a computer, but I don't want to do that, fall into that trap. You buy loads of hobby equipment before you know what you're doing. Carving, really easy. You just need a knife and a block of wood and you're good to go. It's very cheap to get into.
I love it. Well, great. I saw right before we started, Prince, you have subbed now for 10 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Battlesnake. So I mentioned, we're going to be doing some code. It's a game.
Yep.
But that's honestly about as much as I understand about it. So could you give us a bit of a background? What is Battlesnake?
Sure.
How does it work?
Well, first of all, I'm really reassured that you mentioned the Nokia Snake game because that's how I used to intro it. And then I realized last time I was streaming for Battlesnake that that's actually probably a really old person way to look at it and how much of the audience actually has owned a phone. So I'm glad you said it.
I've crossed the generational gap now where I forget that there are people who actively work in tech who've never existed without cell phones.
Right.
And that's why I remember being very... I got my Nokia brick, and I remember that I'm going to say so many things to date me right now. Carson Daly was on Total Request Live every day talking about how cool text messaging was. And I was like, this is the worst idea in the world. No one will ever do this.
And then we are.
Turns out I'm not much of a futurist.
Well, we're operating on the same level, so that's great. So Battlesnake is basically, so if you are not aware of this Nokia thing we're talking about, it is a game where you have a little snake, moves around a 2D grid, and there is food, and whenever it eats a food, it grows in length. That is the base game. That is the one people are familiar with. Battlesnake mixes that up by making it multiplayer. So there are multiple snakes on the grid, and a bigger snake can eat a smaller snake. So if you are the smallest snake on the board, you are in danger. So you want to eat food to stay big, and then there are various other ways to get eliminated that we'll talk about. And then the extra catch is that it's all controlled by programming. So you're writing the AI for this snake. And that's what we're going to be starting off with today. We're going to be creating our first snake and doing it. And so basically the idea of this game, it sits at the intersection of a couple of really fun things, which is it's a way to learn code in a really friendly way. Because you mentioned being a little bit afraid of it and not worried about the game dev part of it. You'll as we get into it, you'll see that it starts with some real programming fundamentals. It's a really fun way to learn. And in particular, one of the things I really like about it is it doesn't so much as use the game dev stuff, but it does use a lot of classic algorithmic thinking that the only place you ever really see it in our industry is terrifying whiteboard interviews.
Great. This is making me feel so much better.
So I bring it up in that context. And what I'm getting to is that is the only place we see it. And so we have all these horrible associations with these really fun bits of programming. And this is a really fun and friendly way to encounter those things without necessarily realizing you're doing it at first.
Okay.
And that's kind of why I fell in love with it, where it was like, I actually encountered it kind of backwards. I encountered it as an event that I sponsored. And, I'd been doing hackathons for like a really long time, and sponsoring lots of hackathons and seen all kinds of tech events under the sun and sponsored just about every event format. And I showed up at this event and I was just like, oh, wow, this is like totally different vibe to anything like I've participated in. Like it gets into some really interesting like parts of programming. It's really, and sorry, I mentioned it has some intersections all over the place. The other intersection is esports, because it's very viewable and it's very watchable, and we should watch some games. But this is where the other fun thing is, where it's like, you go to a hackathon, you do any kind of like, group programming, and you get the demos at the end, but it's kind of hard to like, unless you're participating, it's hard to get much from the experience. Sure. Whereas like Battlesnake is entertaining. Watching people like come together and play games with their snakes is really enjoyable, and really, especially when one of the things I do for Battlesnake is like comment on the games. So if you've ever watched any esport, basically, if you've watched any live gameplay of any game, you get the casters talking over the game. That's basically how we broadcast Battlesnake. We'll chat over the game and talk about what's happening and our theories about why the snake is doing X, Y, and Z. And so it's really fun in that way. So it's like a great way to learn the program, and then it's also a really shareable thing where it's like, hey, I've been learning the program, and look at this really fun game where my snake kicked someone's tail, I guess. It's very contagious in that way. So that's why I love it, and why I think it's going to be fun today. It's very easy to get started with. So yeah, go ahead.
So quick question. So when we're building these, we have, so I'm programming my own snake, which I would then put into a game against somebody else's snake.
Correct. So,
and does that mean that if I have my snake and they have their snake and neither of us makes changes, we'll play the same game every time if we go head to head? Or is it like,
oh god, so many great questions here. Okay. Let me start by talking briefly about how it works. Like,
okay, yes,
the structure of it, and then I'll answer that last question. That last question is really interesting. It's not deterministic, but okay. So, basically, Battlesnake, you can kind of think of like a reverse API, and by which I mean, when you create a snake, what you're doing is setting up a web server, basically. So this is a cool thing for the folks watching. We're going to be doing it in JavaScript today. It's language agnostic. As long as you've got something that can accept a request from HTTP and return a response, you can do it in whatever you want. And there is a member of the community, Penelope, who on my after a deranged Twitter rant from me, did make a snake in pure bash. Anything you want, you can do it. So you make a web server, and then when you get placed into a game with another snake, what happens is the Battlesnake server puts you in that game, and it builds a request of the game state. So it says, hey, there are these two snakes on the board, and it sends that as a JSON post to your server, basically. So you get the game state, and then it's waiting for you to send back a move. And all you send back is left, right, up, or down. That's all you need to send back. And so you do what you want to do with the game state. You can ignore it and just return a random move. That's what we're going to start with, and just send back anything. You can use it and look at where the enemy snake is and say, move away from that. You can look at where the food is and say, move me towards that. You can do machine learning, whatever it is you want to do, as long as you just return a game state. So when it comes to matching with another snake, interesting thing here, there are multiple game modes. So you can just, build a snake and put it on the platform, and you can build your own games. You can say, I want my snake to go against that snake. You can also enroll it in, there's like global arenas that run constantly, and that will put your snake in a game every 10 minutes. So you get like an increasing score. And then we have seasonally competitions. So coming up in starting soon is, when does it start? Starting very soon is the fall league. So every quarter there's like a big seasonal contest.
Nice.
You can enroll it in that. So when you said, same snakes, is it the same game? There is a little bit of randomness to it. So when you start a game, your start position is random. So where the snakes start is random, and there'll be some randomness to where the food is placed. And obviously when the food spawns in is one of the big elements. The food will be in different random positions. So two games with the same snakes aren't necessarily going to be the same, because obviously your snake might make a different decision every time it plays as well. So
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I hit everything. You hit on a lot of stuff.
No, I like that. I wasn't really accounting for the fact that food could be randomly generated on the board. So that does make it interesting. And I see that
in chat. We've got the Battlesnake.
Yeah, I saw Penelope. After Penelope made the snake in Bash. Yeah. Does that earn you a nickname in the Battlesnake community?
So Penelope made that for one of the Battlesnake shows, Coding Badly, and we haven't shown that yet. But Penelope has been kicking butt with a snake built in Rust called "Does This Work, Lol," which Penelope built entirely on a series of streams for the Summer League. Yeah, Penelope is currently actually unironically doing well with a good snake, and on the side they have built this absolute clown fest, which we will eventually get you on the show to do, Penelope.
Clown fest.
I'm sure.
I love it.
The annoying thing is I'm sure the Battlesnake is actually probably going to be good as well. It's just the way Penelope rolls. But yeah, we'll get to that.
I'm also just imagining, like I'm picturing this like you remember that movie Big Hero 6 where at the beginning the people are like sitting around doing robot fights? And I'm picturing Penelope coming up and the announcer's like, and now we have Snake Basher. Like, like a really hardcore name. And she's got like a helmet on.
A fantastic name. Penelope was stealing that name. If you ever like, I don't know, I grew up in like rural England. So, these robotic competitions, like First Robotics, or whatever, were not really accessible to me. If you ever looked at those kind of things, like the thing of Big Hero 6, and you were like, oh, I wish I could get in on that. This is your chance to live your childhood.
This is it. Live your dreams. Okay. Yeah. So I guess, at this point, I feel like I have more questions, but it might be easier to show than tell here.
Just show some games.
Yeah. So let me switch over to pair programming view here.
One disclaimer I do have to quickly make before we do this.
Okay.
I mentioned that we cast these games. When we cast them, they are slower than what we're going to be seeing. These are going to be games played at full speed because they're viewing on the website. Okay. I'm not going to try and we'll watch them and then talk about them.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So before we start doing that, let me do a couple little bits of housekeeping here. First and foremost, this show, like all shows, is being live captioned. We've got Jordan from White Coat Captioning here today, helping make this show more accessible to more people. And you can go and watch that right on the homepage of the site. That is true of every episode. So you can always head right over to learnwithjason.dev to watch the episode live with captions. The captions are made possible through the support of our sponsors. We've got Netlify, Fauna, Hasura, and Auth0 all kicking in to make this show more accessible. While you are clicking things on the internet, you can go and follow Joe on Twitter at jnat_. Like you pronounce that with a pause. It's like Janash,
yeah. Just JNA_SH.
And we are today playing Battlesnake. So this Battlesnake. Well done. But that's at battlesnake.com. You can find that. So this is as much as I know. Like we can see this. I see what appears to be a 4-player Battlesnake going right now.
Yeah. So there's I don't know what game mode that is, but yeah, there's always a game playing on the front page. But let's go to one of the arenas. So I mentioned there's perpetually playing arenas. So in that top bar, you will see global arenas. If you click that and then go to global arena,
okay.
As you see, there's a variety of game modes, which is going to be starting with the standard one. So this is the global arena. This is always running. Once you enter a snake in this, it just goes forever. And you see they've got a score. And then if you've played, any kind of online game, you'll have seen, the advancement between bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and elite, I guess is the purple one. So they earn points. Snakes have a variety of things going on here. So we've got some tags. Tags are things that users can add to their snakes that tells us a little bit about what their snakes are. So there's tags for the technologies. There's tags for the strategies. There's tags for the cloud host. Cloud is something we didn't talk about. Cloud host is like one of the really fun things about Battlesnake as a programmer. Like some programming games have kind of like, a ceiling where they start to become like solved. Battlesnake has lots of dimensions where you can push things. So like once you're comfortable in one area, you can move on to something more advanced. Battlesnake has a latency limit. So like you have to send a response within a given amount of milliseconds. And so that means like on the high end of competition, you go from like how smart is my snake to like how like I need to get like a little bit extra time to do like an extra like layer of my graph search kind of thing. And where you host it becomes really important and you see some really wild setups. And then we have other tags like, hungry. So, that kind of indicates the snake's going for food a lot. Aggressive, it's going for eliminations, all kinds of stuff like this. You'll see the snakes are kind of customized, that you can dress up your snake. That's again done by the API with lots of weird, funny heads. So yeah, this is kind of where we're at. Let's grab Hungry Caterpillar. That's a nice snake. So if you just click on that, that will bring up all of the recent games. Let's go for the one where they won. So that green text, if you click view that replay, that'll take us over to the games. And so this is the game screen. So if you scroll down just a little bit, or maybe zoom out a touch. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So before we click play on this, just to explain some of what we're seeing. So obviously snakes are on the board. This is the first area of the randomness I mentioned. You'll notice there's 3 snakes on the bottom and 1 in the top corner. Those starting positions are random. They are always, in the second from last row or column, so they're always around the outside. And every snake has a piece of food near them, but then there is also a piece of food in the middle. That's very important because, as mentioned, size is important in Battlesnake. So the way that size works is if your snake head collides with any snake body part, including your own. So if you hit a snake tail or neck, as we call it, any part of a snake, your snake will be eliminated. You can't hit a body part. You have to avoid your own body and bodies of others. If you hit a head, if you are the bigger snake, you eliminate that snake and you survive. If you are both the same size, you both get eliminated. The small snake loses. The other way you can be eliminated is by hitting a wall. So you can't, it's not like if some Nokia snake, you can go through the wall and come out the other side. We don't have that. If you hit a wall, you're out. And the final way is by starving. So you'll see there's these colored bars under each of the snake names. That's the health bar. It starts at 100. Every turn, it ticks down by 1. When a snake eats a food, it fills back up to 100. So the minute you eat a food, even if you're on 1 health, if you eat 1 food, you're back to full health. And every time you eat a food, your length increases by 1. So that's what that other number is. There's a number on the side that says 3. That's the current length. The snakes start coiled up, so you only see 1 body part, but they are all three body parts in length. When they move, you'll see it. Gotcha. And then every time you eat a food, that grows by 1. So that was a lot of info. Does that make sense? Viewers, does that make sense? Jason, does that make sense?
I'm following as much as I can without actually watching it, I think.
Yeah, so hit play whenever you're ready and they'll go at it.
Okay, here we go.
That little play button there. Yeah, there we go. And it will be fast. So you can see that as they're gaining food, they're getting longer. Yeah. These are very passive snakes. No one's gone for any eliminations. That's getting really hairy for Shy Halud. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Battlesnake V2 end up hitting itself. It got stuck in a corner, which is not uncommon. And it is a pain we'll come to be very familiar with by the end of the stream. This is a long game. Okay, so that was really cool. So if you just hit the left arrow in your keyboard, that should rewind. That should back us up a step.
Oh, this is cool. Up, okay.
So keep backing up. So, okay, there we go. So hit space from about here. So watch Hungry Caterpillar here. So Hungry Caterpillar gets the size advantage and then just goes on a killing spree. They got the size advantage over the others. So they got to 16. The other 2 were on 15. And then if you see on the side, you've also got the way they lost. So you've got Shy Halud lost to a head-to-head and Dark 2 lost to a head-to-head. This is a really common way that these things go, where it's like, the games will play out and they'll be kind of be like trying to just stay equal size parity, playing defensively. And then like one snake will get a size advantage and a positional advantage and they'll just switch to like, cool, kill mode, go get some kills. And they straight away, Hungry Caterpillar mopped up. So yeah, that's kind of...
Well, what I love about this is that as we were watching this, you did sound like an analyst, like the expert analyst that would happen as a voiceover in an esports or like sports match, which makes
my role on the analyst team is like the one who reads far too much into every snake. I'm always like, I think the snake is doing this. And it turns out it was just like a completely random move.
So I feel like I would be, if I were to do this, I would be the one that was more like, like John Madden or like the ex-footballer who really doesn't know what's going on, but just says things loudly. I'd be like, look at that snake go. He looks hungry. Football is a sport. Like,
I mean, honestly, like, let's get into it in the weeds, but like I'm the newest addition to the casting team. So I came in like well after the other casters. They've been doing it for years. And so my original role on the team was pretty much just like, I'm here to ask the dumb questions so make them explain stuff. So I was pretty much doing that. So that's a very high level game. Let's go watch one that's probably gonna be operating a little bit closer to where we are. So right down to the bottom, let's go hang out in Bronze League.
Oh, maybe I'll just click the bronze.
Oh, yeah, you can hit that. I didn't know that was a thing. Let's watch one that's customized to make sure it's actually working. Let's go that Python one. That's got a lot of tags. Let's go with that. So when you are matched in games, you are matched in kind of like, against snakes of similar level. So yeah, we click view replay on that.
Which one?
Anyone that appeals to you. Let's go for that one. Cool, there we go. So yeah, just hit play, see what happens. This will probably be a very different. There we go. Okay, very different game.
Went very fast.
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons for that. Interesting thing here. So you see under the length number, I don't know why I'm pointing at my screen like that means anything to anyone. Under the length number, there's a smaller number on these. That's the latency. So that's how fast it returned a response. The reason this game went so fast, and this is common in the lower brackets, is timeouts. So the reason this is common so that red 0 basically means that the snake didn't return a move in the time. And so when your snake doesn't return a move, it just moves in the direction it's currently going, basically. Gotcha. The reason this is common in the lower brackets is because a lot of, when you're playing Battlesnake, you can play with any host you want. You can host it on your local computer and ngrok to it. You can throw it up on a free Heroku, any free cloud plan anywhere. A lot of those free cloud plans take some time to spin up when you first hit them. Mm-hmm. And so these snakes quite often end up in this situation where, like, when you start a game, they're not actually awake. So this is probably what's happened with this one. Or, it was just a test snake and someone shut it down.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
okay. So, all right. I get it.
One last thing to look at before we maybe jump in. If you go to global arenas again, so mentions different game modes. Mm-hmm. Let's look at Royale. Royale is fun. So this is pretty much if you played a battle royale game, like Fortnite or Apex Legends or anything like that. This is that. There is what we call the hazard source, which is like the cloud, and it closes in. And whenever you're in the source, you take extra damage. So let's go for, if you scroll down a little bit, Penelope, where is Does It Work, lol?
Here it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay, that's Penelope Snake. Does it work, lol? Let's take that top
184 turns. Oh my goodness. Okay.
In this game mode as well, which is a lot. Oh, we've got Smart Caliper as well. It's the one we just watched. So they'll be playing, and then here comes the hazard source. So whenever they're in the hazard source, they will lose additional food. Every turn they're in there, they lose more food. So now they're not only, competing against each other and trying to stay alive, trying to not get eaten, they're also trying to stay out of the hazard source. Penelope, this is the first time I've seen Does This Work, lol since Summer League. So interesting thing here. We are not going to be doing anything this clever today, but you'll see in Does This Work, lol's name, it's got MCTS. This is a very popular algorithm in the high level of play, which is Monte Carlo tree sort. There's kind of a when I said that this is a fun place where you get to see some cool CS algorithms that you only ever otherwise see in whiteboard tests. Mm-hmm. This is an example of them where, like, towards the upper end of play is lots of cool tree sort algorithms like minimum spanning tree, min max, that kind of thing. I've never encountered Monte Carlo as except in a CS, except in my degree ever. And then it's like, oh, cool. There's like a bunch of people who know like an intense amount about this because this silly snake game.
Nice. Yeah, that's a word I just learned today. So I'm
yeah, we're not going to be going there. It's all good.
I expect to be more of one of the ones, just setting expectations for the chat. I'm going to be the one that runs immediately into the wall. Just everybody get ready.
We're going to be doing what Brad, the founder of Battlesnake, calls elimination-driven development, where we see how our snake dies and then we fix that problem. We're just going to go in it with if statements. So that is how all my snakes work, and that is what we're going to be doing today.
Nice.
Oh, Penelope's bragging in chat. You'll note it happily moved into the hazard source because it knew it was winning.
Okay, so something really delightful just happened for me, which is that when you said hazard sauce with your accent, I thought you were saying hazard source. Right. And it's much funnier to me that this is called hazard sauce.
Yeah. Yeah, hazard sauce. Yeah, sorry.
I love it. No, don't apologize. I enjoyed that muchly. Okay. So now I just want to go run a snake into a wall here. So how do I start? Okay,
so to start, we're gonna have to grab a snake. We'll grab one of the starter snakes. The starter snakes are like, it's ready to go things, and we'll get an ngrok URL set up for it, and then we'll create the snake in your profile. So go to docs in the top.
Docs?
Yep. And then this is the documentation. Everything is described here. On the left, you will see a thing that's actually right in front of you, starter projects. Yeah, either link. And so this is all the starter projects. Some of them are official, some of them are maintained by the community. That's a great Haskell one. This is it. This is set up as a GitHub template repo.
Okay.
So you can just use the template. Does the GitHub command line support the templates? Okay, forking works too.
Well, yeah, I guess I can use the template. I've never actually done it that way. Let's try it. I'm going to use this template.
Yeah. I guess I haven't used it.
Move it over to Learn with Jason.
Cool.
And should I name it something different? Like, is there a convention for this?
There isn't, we have kind of encoding badly land. We've kind of just settled on calling our snake whatever the random thing is. So this one's Silver Succotash, which I actually think is quite good.
Like that?
Yeah, that's what that's what GitHub said right under there. How about Silver Succotash? So your snake is now christened Silver Succotash. Our last one was Agitated Hoover.
Agitated Hoover. Okay. All right. So I'm going to create a repository.
Yeah.
And then I will just clone that repository instead.
Correct. Yes.
So let's repo clone this one.
Cool. And then, yeah, let's open this up and have a poke around.
I should probably run the npm install here. Okay, so we have what looks to be a pretty... What? Yeah, okay, fine. We'll do that later. Okay, so I have what looks to be pretty straightforward. So I have just express. Oh, what's up, Semantics Dev? Good to see you. Thank you for coming over. Thank you for the raid. We're playing Battlesnake. Well, we're about to play Battlesnake. You came at just the right time. So I've just downloaded the starter project, which is an Express server with Jest for testing, and that's it. So let's look in here. So I have, I'm going to make this bigger so we can see it. I have our logic, which we'll look at in a second. Set up a basic Express app boilerplate.
Yep.
Put it at port 8080.
Have just 4 endpoints.
4 endpoints. So a root, which looks like kind of a more of like a health check, like I'm alive.
Correct. And that's also where you set your snake's metadata. So that's where you put the snake name, the snake customizations.
Got it.
And then that gets set up when you add your snake.
Okay. So we can start the snake, move the snake, end the snake, or no, we wouldn't want to end that. I think I'm wrong.
End my snake. I'm dumb. End of this game. So start is sent is sent at the start of a game. End is sent at the end of a game. We are probably not actually going to use these. Mostly we only need move. So they start is like it will contain some game info. Start and end are only really useful if you're doing stateful snakes. So snakes that are kind of like keeping track of, things internally between games. Most of the time you don't need to do that because you get sent the whole game request with move. So we're probably going to need move and info today. So this is the snake. So now that we've got this code here, we're going to want to get the server running and then get an ngrok URL and then add it to your Battlesnake profile. But before we do that, let's customize your snake. So we scroll back to the top before we dive into logic too much. In this response block is where you're going to want to stick you as the author and probably a color. And
is there a format?
You can put whatever you want in there. I usually put my GitHub handle, but you can put whatever works for you. Yeah. Okay. And then just a little hex for a color.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's grab one from the Learn with Jason site because that's always a good time.
Yeah. Be on brand.
Yeah, why not, right? So let's get up here.
Oh, hey, Brad.
And let's see what I can find in colors. Here we go. Here are all my colors on the site. Let's use, what's a good snake? Do you want to go light or dark with a snake, do you think?
Oh, pink dark is nice. I like that.
Pink dark? All right, we're going to do a pink dark snake.
Cool.
Okay.
Perfect. And then head and tail we'll leave for now because we have to see that in the docs. We have to grab some names in the docs. We'll get that after we add your snake. So just having a quick poke around logic here. So we've got start and end. We can ignore those mostly. That's just logging. But then move. The way this default snake is set up, so you've got this object of possible moves. And you'll see it's got up, down, left, right set to true. So basically what this snake does is it's got only very basic behavior. It ensures you're not going to hit your own body. That's what this block here is doing. So it's getting the game state that's coming in the request. It's then finding the head. So we'll look at the game object in the game state object in the docs. For now, this might be a bit abstract, but in the game state object, there is an object called you that contains your snake. And the snake object contains an entry for head and then an array for all of the body segments. And a body segment is represented by an X and Y coordinate, basically. So where on the grid it is. So we're grabbing the head, we're grabbing the neck, and then this if block here is just making sure that like I'm a snake on the board. I'm about to pick my next move. I can go up, down, left, or right. Quickly check up, down, left, or right, and make sure that one of my bodies is not occupying that space. If my body is occupying that space, remove it from the possible moves. Set that move to false. And so that's the basic approach we're going to take here today. We're going to be in a position. We're going to inspect that position for failure cases, and then we're going to disable that move if it's a failure case. So
got it.
Get that idea? And then you see we've got some lovely comments in the Starter Snake that guide us where we're going to go. Next we're going to do not hit walls. Yeah.
Not hit walls. Don't hit yourself. You really should change that to stop hitting yourself. Don't collide with others. Find food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is when it finally runs the move. So at the end, so it eliminates the moves that are dangerous from that JSON object, and then it just picks a random one. So, but most of the time you'll only have one of those moves eliminated because the body segment your head's attached to. So then there's 3 moves remaining. Doesn't do anything smart, just picks one at random. So yeah. So let's run this code, get it engrocked, and then add the snake to your profile so we can watch it in a game and see how a completely random snake goes.
Okay, so I'm going to just, I guess we can npm start. Okay, so I have my server.
Yes.
And if I go and hit this
8080
at the root, I should just get that object back. There it is. Okay. So now I need to ngrok, and you're going to have to remind me how to do this because I just reinstalled it.
It would just be ngrok http 8080. There you go. And then grab that URL.
Do I need the HTTPS one?
No, Ava should do, I think. But this is where I hope,
just got something caught in my throat. This is going to be fun for everybody.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'll cover for you. So yeah, and then
cool. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
So we go over to battlesnake.com.
Fun times. Okay.
Oh no! Don't pay attention. Battlesnake.com and then to your profile. So top right, click on that, and then click Battlesnakes.
Oh, Battlesnakes.
Okay, so here works. It's my fault. You're in the right place. It's all good. That big purple button.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah. So create new, and then call it a name. So what's it? Silver Succotash. And you can name it however you want. Put a link to the show.
Yeah. Okay.
What are these? Why are people doing up, right, left, and down in the chat?
Oh, do you see the little dumpster and submarine that's floating around the screen? They can control those.
I do. That's pretty cool.
So they move it around.
Neat. Okay, so tags. Cool. Let's start with like JavaScript. We're a JavaScript snake.
Can't spell it. We're in trouble. Okay, JavaScript.
Oh, now your community is just showing off. These boops falling.
Yes, that's for anyone who is a subscriber. You can use that boop command and drop a bunch of them. Oh, Cassidy's here. We're about to get buried. Yeah,
we are definitely getting buried. And then hit save. Oh, this is amazing. I'm enjoying this a lot. This is additionally awkward for me because I'm viewing it via the live stream. I have no idea what the UI is. Okay, so that's your snake. So you will see the latency. Snake. This is the default snake. So if you want to change that, actually, let's play a game first, and then we'll come back and change that. Okay. So click. Thanks, Cassidy. Click play game. I can still see that UI element. This is wonderful. They jiggle as well. So click the little plus next to your snake, the little purple plus.
Okay.
And so let's just do your snake. Yeah.
So over here.
Yeah.
And then I can start the game.
Yep.
All right, chat, you win, but we're not going to be able to see if you keep doing it.
It's okay. Jason can drive. I'll just vaguely mouth. How fast? This is really like.
They clear it's about 30 seconds for the boops to clear.
Is this Canvas or what?
It is, yeah. So I'm using Matter.js, and I have my stream is so over-engineered. I have
that's kind of stream.
The whole stream overlay is a website. I run a server in the background that that gets the Twitch like IRC stuff
Yeah.
and turns that into a GraphQL subscription so that I can pull out like the CDN link for the emotes and do some filtering and make sure that people have privileges to do the more disruptive stuff. And then we can from there I can like respond to it. So all the overlays are basically responding to real-time GraphQL.
Let's browse the source and OBS for that part of it.
Cassidy, I do appreciate you being nice. You're the best. Okay, so
this is your snake. It is in a game. If you click play, you'll see how a random snake does.
Insta dead.
6 turns. It went through the wall. So there's our first objective. So important point to note here. This is going to be useful for us later. When you rewind and press play, you're watching the same game. So the game happens. All of those requests hit the server. And then what we're watching is a recording of the events that have happened. If we want to queue up a new game, which we'll be doing a lot, there is a rematch. So if you scroll down, I think it's on the bottom, rematch.
Yes. Got it. So then we can play again.
Yep. Yes, and that's a new game, and now you're watching a new. Oh, that was a good one. And then it hits his tail. Yeah. So the code we have right now only stops it hitting like it's immediately adjacent.
Yeah.
The first neck. While we were looking at those buttons, I actually scroll down a little bit. Just a fun little note. There's also you can share a game. You can generate a GIF of the game. You can add to favorites. We have graphs, so you can watch like your length over time. In this case, you see it plummet off a cliff as you hit your own body. Yeah, all kinds of fun things.
This is fun. All right, okay. I can see the appeal here. This looks like a good time.
Okay, this customizes your snake a little bit. So if you go to your profile again, if you click on your little floating head. Oh, sorry, on
my profile. I don't know why I'm.
Yeah. You should see. Oh yeah. So go profile. This is where I try to remember where this is. I believe it's profile, and then customizations. And then you see where it says to see the customizations available to everyone, go here. So there's ones that are available for everyone, and there's ones you unlock through play.
Okay.
So here you go. So you just grab a name of one you like, and you throw it into that JSON object at the top. So what are we thinking? So these are the standard heads and tails. There's also some branded ones.
Do some votes. What do you want to see?
There's a Docker whale snake.
Is it this one? Is the Docker whale?
Silly. We've got a vote for Silly. Silly is good.
Silly.
And then it says team default skin forever. Oh, Cassidy's on Silly. We've got most votes for Silly so far.
Okay, so we make the head is Silly. What about the tail?
Some of these I really don't like. Some of these tails. Some of them like Fat Rattle will just never not look like a lemon to me.
That does look like a lemon, doesn't it?
Curried.
You saying curled?
Oh, curled.
Round bum.
Oh, it's actually called round bum. Amazing.
No, we got 2 votes. Somebody be the tiebreaker. 2 for round bum. We've made a decision.
Silly round bum. When life gives you fat rattles, make fat rattle-aid. Amazing. So now, I think to make that change happen, if you go back to if you click Battlesnakes again on your profile, we'll need to quickly refresh that snake. Oh, you'll probably need to restart the server. Sorry.
Oh, right, because we didn't set any. Oh, wait, what am I doing?
Yeah, I do that all the time as well.
Okay. So now.
And then give it a click refresh on the snake.
404 not
that's
found.
Probably because you restarted ngrok, the URL has changed. So if you click edit on the snake, you'll be able to change the URL.
Okay.
The joy of using ngrok. But it does get us there really quick. We don't end up messing around with cloud deployments.
Okay, so I'm going to edit.
Yep.
Swap this out.
This is useful viewing, chat, because I can guarantee you will make the same mistake.
Look at it go.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. So are you ready to make sure the snake doesn't hit a wall?
Yes.
Okay. So let's put it in a game and get a game set up so we can just hit that rematch button when we're ready. So play game.
Play game.
Yep.
Pick the snake. Here we go.
Start that game.
All right. And so now just chaos mode right into a wall.
Perfect. Okay. So Let's start with, have you still got the docs open in the tab? Let's look at the game objects and give you a tour of the game objects.
Do I have the docs open? I sure don't. Let's head over here.
Cool.
Why do I have my profile open twice? One profile, one docs. Okay.
Great. So if you click API reference on the left, and then scroll down. Hang on a minute. I might be misleading you because I don't know where anything is. Apparently, I need to work out where it is because your browser is a little bit narrower than what I'm used to. So you didn't have the sidebar.
Sample move request.
Yeah, that works. Cool. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so this is what comes with move. So a lot of this we can ignore. So you've got that game object at the top. That's got the game ID, the rule set. We don't care about any of that for now. Okay. We're just going to be building for the standard rule set. Board is going to be the one we care about for the purpose of this. So there's a board object, and that describes the height and width, because that is dynamic. That can change. Currently, the default is 11. And then it gives us an array of all the food objects. Again, we don't care about that right now. Main thing we're going to want from that is height and width. Hazards is, again, an array of positions. That's when we were playing Royale, we had the hazard source coming in.
Right.
That will be an array of the hazard source squares. So we don't care about that either. Snakes is then all of the snakes that are in the game. So for right now, that's only going to contain us. We are in this object twice. So the move object has an array of all the snakes, and then it has the U object. So we are in the array of snakes, and then we are also in the U object. But the default starter snake already fetches the U object for us, which is nice. And then when we look at a snake, we don't care about the ID, we don't care about the name. As you get more into the game, you can do clever things like looking at, which other snakes you're playing against and being like, oh, I know that snake. I know what that kind of thing that snake does, and optimizing for given snakes.
Okay.
But we're not going to be doing that nonsense. We just want to know where our body parts are. We've got that with that array of body.
Penelope saying that if name is Pretzel, run away in fear.
Yeah, Pretzel is the current front runner.
Okay.
Scary snake. Every now and then there is a snake whose name inspires terror in the leaderboard. And Pretzel is certainly that one. So that's the object. So let's dive to your code and have a look at what comments we currently have.
Okay, so we know we're not going to double back on ourselves. That's good.
Correct, yes. So next we've got this lovely information not hit walls. So it gives us some starter variables to get. So we get the board width and the board height from the game state. So that is dynamic. So the Battlesnake board is just a 2D board, X and Y. And bottom left is 0. It is 0 indexed. This will trip us up more than once. Okay. So the bottom left corner is 0, 0.
So that means that, so looking at the board.
Yeah.
Just to step through this a little bit. So this square is 0, 0. Correct. Which means that right now, at this particular moment, the game object would say my snake is at X3, Y4.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
No, hang on, X2. Y.
Oh, right, 0, 1, 2.
There we go, we've already done
3.
it.
Okay, so yeah, X2,
X3,
Y3.
Y2, yeah. So your head in the snake objects, there'll be the entry for head. That will be X2, Y3. Important thing to note, I said there's lots of places that data is duplicated in the move object that at first is unintuitive. So head is its own field in the object, but then the head is also always the first item in the array. So the body array is ordered as well. So the 0 element is the head, and then it goes backwards down through the tail.
Gotcha. Okay. So effectively then, what I can do, just kind of following along with this sophisticated AI we're creating here, I can say if my head dot Y is less than 1, then possible moves down is false.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That is how we're going to do this.
And if my head X is less than 1, then possible moves dot left is false.
Yes.
And then we need to do the same thing for the furthest extent.
The X's, yeah.
So if the y is greater than board height, be greater than or equal to, I guess. Then we would do possible moves up. Right?
Wait, have we got these backwards?
Y, right?
Yeah.
The board height would be 11.
If y is
so
less
if
than
y
or
is
0, yes.
right. Am I doing that right? I guess we'll find out very quickly if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, it can never be greater or equal to the board height because it's 0 index. So it'll be board height minus. It'll be we want to be less. Wait, we want to be greater than board height minus 2 if we're going to be going with greater than.
Okay, so I did the greater than or equal to, but I can do the triple equals.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
And I could I could probably clean these up as well to say like make it more explicit.
If it's equal to 0, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so then that would be right. And so this then
and then we've got possible moves on. Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so if I run this one, theoretically, it should just random around in the middle forever until it hits its own body.
Yes,
okay.
Theoretically. This is where I am always forgetting some nuance case check. Penelope, I was saying before we got started that I was really hoping someone who knew what they were doing came and backseat drove my terrible Battlesnake recommendations. So yes, keep doing that, please. It's very helpful.
Okay, so let's. Do I need to refresh the snake?
No.
Okay.
You don't need to refresh if you're doing changes to info because it only hits info when you add the snake.
Gotcha. Okay, so this one shouldn't hit a wall.
Hopefully. There we go. Doing the thing.
Look at it go.
It's doing well.
And then it hit itself.
Okay. No.
Okay.
So, brief tangent. Head on over to, in a new tab, head on over to challenges. That challenges in the global arenas. Yeah. So, here is a little, if you want to learn how to play Battlesnake and you want to know like, hey, what should I progress along? Here's the little path. The reason I want to bring this up is because some of these goals are kind of intertwined. So there is like, you know, we've already seen Penelope at the high end with Monte Carlo tree search. There is like a long path up to there. And the usual route is like, you know, you avoid walls, you avoid yourself, you avoid other snakes, you find food. Avoiding yourself, you know, there are two ways to start about going that route. There is, you know, you can detect where all your body segments are, make sure you never go into it. But this problem can also only occur if your snake actually gets long enough for you to hit. If it stays at free length, you can't hit your own body. So this is like a point where we get to make a decision now, Jason, which is, do we want to go about avoiding ourselves by looking at the whole body array and therefore like not trying to get really big, but avoiding our body? Or shall we start looking at food and potentially avoiding food? Do you have a preference in which way you'd like to go with this?
Avoiding food.
So this is a very common thing in like, I guess like the first realization Battlesnake players like kind of have as they play is like, it's actually not good to always eat food because then you start running out of space and it gets really complicated. So you can avoid your own body, but where it gets really tricky is if your body creates a loop, if you create like a space that you can't go into, like a space that's big enough for you to go into, it's really hard to navigate out of that loop. So one of the easy ways to avoid that at the stage we're at is actually just to avoid eating unless we have to. So we could start doing these challenges right now by going that kind of route.
Okay. So yeah, let's try that.
Okay. So we jump back into your code then. So to avoid the food, let's do it where we are now because we're kind of not, we're doing things a bit weird. So this is going to be, the array is going to be in gamestate.board.food.
Okay.
Perfect. And then your comment there is great. Avoid food until we need it. So we've got this 100 health, right? And we don't really, we want to make sure that we start looking for food when we've still got enough time to find it, and it's an 11 by 11 board. So like we can probably avoid food until like, I don't know, maybe a quarter. So we can put this whole thing in an if statement, which is based on our health.
Okay. So if game state .u.health
health
is, and it's 100. So
yeah. So I guess like 25, 50, whatever you feel like. Yeah. And then, yeah, kind of same logic as one we've got here. So comparing the position of our head to like basically looking at the squares. Well, a little bit different. So we're looking at, it's going to be very similar to the body search. So we're going to be looking at the squares around our head and seeing if they contain food. So actually, we're probably going to want to do this with like a filter or something on the food array or some. I don't know. It's going to be an array method on the food array probably.
Okay. So food dot filter, let's go with okay, so let me think about this a little bit. So if we're looking at the board here, and this is the snake's head,
yeah,
then what I would want to do is get, for each food on the board, I want to check if it is within one of these things. So if the food is here,
yeah,
I would disable right.
Correct.
Okay. So that doesn't feel like a filter. That feels like a for each. Right?
Yes. For each food, check if it's in my head plus blah blah blah.
My head dot x
is equal to food for is equal to f dot x, I guess.
F dot x
and
minus 1, right? And then that would be
wait, no, other way round. It's gonna be my head dot x minus 1 equal to f dot x, I think. Does that make sense? Because we're checking
that would be one direction. So I'm going to have to check both, right? Because I have to check if it's to the left or to the right.
Correct.
So we can go, if it's fx minus 1, that means that it's 1 to the left. So that would disable right.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And then I can do if fx plus 1.
Yeah, then it's on your left. Yeah.
Then we would go, go left.
But, and this is where I got told off by the chat last time. If you will need to check both y and x in the same conditional, because if you do, because on like this first one, for example, the x being to your left might mean it's at a diagonal from you if you don't also check the y at the same point. So you want my head dot x equals f dot x minus 1, and the y is the same.
Oh, I got you. And
on the same plane.
My head dot y equals f dot y. All right. Good. Do that. And then we can change this one to x. Copy paste that.
American 2050 asked a really fascinating question. Wouldn't you need to know the facing of the head? I love this question because this is something that I do every time I'm watching a game. The directions are fixed. So it's when the up, left, right, and down is always based on the board's up, left, right, and down. It's not from the position. It's not from the direction your head is facing. The game, the direction the snake's head is facing. Yeah, the game, the direction your snake is facing is only cosmetic. I actually think this would be a fascinating game mode. I really want that to be added as a game mode where like the rule set is switched to be relative to your snake's perspective rather than the board's perspective. But I have not so far succeeded in getting that done.
Okay, so why don't you like this? Oh wait, because it's not a const anymore. It's now just a loop. So this theoretically should, now I'm probably going to starve to death here because I'm not doing anything to like change my decisions if well,
this whole block is only run until you're 25 health, right?
Right. So but there's no
so after that it will just hopefully accidentally hit food, but yeah, we might have to intentionally go after food in a bit. So
it's not working at all.
Hang on. Hmm.
I didn't restart the server is why.
Okay, that will do it. Oh, that's Sangrok.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. No, it's not. My bad.
I'm ready. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Don't starve to death, little snake. Oh, I just did it. Oh, I just broke everything.
Well, that's fun.
Wait, how did you hit a wall?
How did it go out? Well, we've got our first problem. Why would we have broken that?
Seems unlikely that I would have been able to do that, right? Like, I don't ever reset anything to true.
Correct.
Let's
check which turn you died on, and then check the move log again. I mean, what we should do is add a console log that shows the to console log the object of possible moves.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
And this is where here is a common annoyance for Battlesnake developers. Obviously, we're not going to get that same game state again when we rematch, so we can't replicate this situation. Right. There is a solution to this that we won't get into the stream, but if you ever run it, if you're playing and you run into the situation, there is a tool made by the community where you can download the current game state and reset it. Will then send it as request back to your snake. So that time it didn't happen. So maybe it was a fluke. I don't know why it would be a fluke.
Maybe.
Just keep hitting rematch until it happens again. It's a shame we already got rid of the game. Okay, this looks fine. I have a theory about why it might have happened, but I think it would have been too soon into the game. It could possibly have been, oh no, because it's set up. Never mind. It's not relevant. Anyway, this looks like it's working.
Okay, let's try it again.
Yeah. You're certainly avoiding food.
Nope.
Oh, you were avoiding food. So next time you hit food, just rewind it and have a look at what the moves are saying. Okay, you're about to hit 25.
And now chaos mode. And it died.
Okay.
Come on, give me. Okay, so that actually has me wondering. I think I did my math wrong.
Oh, really?
I think I may have. So this one said, where did it? Okay, so
which term is it? Like 33?
So we go back 2, 3.
You can do it with the left arrow key as well. Maybe some focus.
Okay, so this is turn 31.
31, so it shouldn't
be 32 it eats. So
yeah.
On move 30.
31.
31, it goes down.
Yeah.
Down is true. So what the XY should have been is we were at let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this would have been 11, or I guess 10.
Yes.
Right. So
yep. And the food object would have been
down to be false.
5, 9. Yeah.
FY, the food Y plus 1 should have been 10.
Yes.
Head Y would have been 10.
Yeah.
And the X
is
would have equaled the same, which means that this should have been marked as false.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe what I need to do is just log head X. Let's log the Y. And there's only going to be like 10 pieces of food on the board, right? So if I log these, it's not going to spam us.
No, it should be fine. Well, I mean, it depends how successful we are. If we are successful in avoiding food, there shouldn't be any.
True.
Well, there should be a lot. There should be a lot, rather. I love this. There's a Battlesnake people explaining how debugging works in Battlesnake to folks in your chat.
Okay, so this is restarted, so we should get the right logging.
It's weird that it's like happening every other game, though. Okay, this is looking good. I wonder if it is only happening when we're in that top. Oh, okay. Were
That
we on
was-
less than 25 when that happened?
I think so. Let's rewind.
It was turn. Oh no, we shouldn't have been. It was only turn 50 odd. Yeah, that shouldn't have been a foodie. So move forward one. It might have had no other moves.
No, it had
so
moves.
it can't go down. Yeah.
Could have gone to.
Okay. So this is an interesting one to start with.
Okay. So this was move 53.
Yeah.
So 53. Wait, it didn't.
All true. How is it? How could it?
Wait. Yeah. So first and foremost, that is all confusing.
Oh, right's false. That's. Oh no, hang on. It shouldn't be right. Shouldn't be false. It should be down. That's false in that position.
I did something wrong. Right, false. Head equals fx minus 1.
But even that's the food logic. It should be here. Down should be false because of your head position. So something's broken somewhere else.
Something is broken somewhere else, and also my logging isn't happening. So
did we not?
I thought I stopped and started it. Let's try that again.
Mystery snake issues.
And then rematch.
I think health is less than 25 is the wrong way around. I don't think so. Health less than 25 isn't the wrong way around, right? When our health is less than 25.
We want the health to be less than 25.
Oh, Penelope said, did you save the file?
Did I save the file? That is a great question. I did save it. Okay.
Okay, but we're eating food again.
We're still not getting it, which means if health...
Oh, can you console.log before each?
No, we were wrong.
It is greater than that?
Yeah, because we only want to avoid it until we're
Oh, you're right.
Okay. Well, that's... You know what? That makes me feel better because just being...
Now the rest of it isn't
being
bad.
wrong, I'm comfortable with just being wrong.
DeGriddle, well done. very well done. This is the amount of silly just algebraic logic mistakes.
Avoiding food.
Looking good. And now less
There's
than 25,
health.
it should eat food.
It's eating.
Yes.
Okay, so it's probably gonna...
Yeah, so this is eventually... So what will happen is it will eventually end up with no possible moves, and so it will just keep going the direction it was going.
Caught itself in a... Yeah, okay. Okay, all right.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, so that's much better. I'm going to get rid of that console log now that it's working.
That's probably good enough to pass the avoiding walls challenge.
Okay, let's try it.
Yeah.
Avoiding walls, attempt.
Yes. What happened?
What was that all about? It didn't even... Wait, did it not even try to reload there? That was interesting. Okay, so let's start. Let's try that one more time. That was amazing. It was like, it wasn't even like...
Yeah.
It was like, come on, Succotash.
Immediately off the board. Just it's doing
What
it
up,
again.
Succotash? What are you doing?
It's got...
Wait.
There's nothing hard-coded on 11 somewhere, is there?
It's not getting requests.
Oh.
Is there any way that it could have...
Is your Angrok still running?
To the best of my knowledge?
Yeah, looks fine. This seems like a Brad problem. Brad, does challenges send requests in a weird way? I can't think it would do.
Maybe just for the sake of making sure that it's actually connecting, let me go and edit this snake. And we'll change this, save. Okay, let's try that again.
There we go.
Better. I feel like something happened where it was not actually connecting. Like maybe there's it said I had 12 connections to that Ngrok, so I'm wondering if I had just
there's a rate limit on Ngrok or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but it did starve to death.
Yeah, but it made it turn 100, which I think is fine. So if you go to challenges now.
Okay.
So just click the challenges bar again. Yeah.
Completed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes me happy.
If you hover over avoid yourself, is that also 100 turns?
Yes.
We can give it a go. It might. We have died to hitting ourselves a couple of times, but
that does seem to be the thing. Should we add a little bit of logic in there? Just
we can absolutely check for our bodies. It's just going to be the same, for reaching over the body array instead of the food array, basically.
Okay, so this feels like something that we could probably abstract into a little helper function, but that's not how we roll here. So we're going to copy paste our way to success.
Keep adding ifs. We want hundreds of lines of them. It's going to be like, have you ever heard the story about Super Meat Boy and the like movement logic file? Have you had? I think a bat just flew into my window. There's like some story about the platformer Super Meat Boy and how how fine-tuned the feeling of the movement is, where like, if you run and jump off a platform at this speed and land in this way, like how they made like that work and feel really nice. And it's like, apparently there's literally just like a 4,000 line file of if statements, just capturing all the different like variables and permutations.
Good.
That is how this can be artisanal, handcrafted if statements for every possible board state.
I love it. What's up, Alex? Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. We are building out a Battlesnake. Also, thank you, Jimena, for the sub. I saw that earlier and didn't want to interrupt, but thank you very much. Always very much appreciated. Okay, so I believe we have restarted our Battlesnake, and so now let's just YOLO. Let's just try it and see what happens.
I'll quickly close my window before a large flying object comes in my room.
Not hitting the body. Got stuck, hit the wall. But we made it through
100.
Yeah, we made it through 100. I think we got stuck here because we had our health had gone up.
Oh, I see. Oh, so that will be a fun check to add.
Right, we're gonna have to do the logic there. I can see, I can see why self-driving cars have been such a hard challenge.
Self-driving snakes. I was want to quickly highlight a comment by Penelope, which I like, just because it shows like the variety of directions you can go. That Penelope beat the avoiding walls challenge just by moving in a circle. Yeah, these challenges are unopinionated. Do it, come on in however you want. You just need to get to 100 turns, whichever. Grow your snake in whichever way you like.
Nice.
So, avoiding other snakes. We haven't done anything with other snakes. How are we doing on time? Got a little bit.
We have like 22 minutes, so.
So we could fix that bug you just hit. So that would be an interesting one, because basically we want to look at, that was a case where there would have been no moves available there, right? Have you still got the game state for that one?
Yeah. No.
What we could do.
Wait.
Oh, so I mean, it'd be in the console, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Do we have the possible moves array? Yeah.
No available moves, so it just repeated its move.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
What we could do is have a case right at the end where if there are no possible moves, quickly do a check and see like, okay, it's one of those moves food, because that's non-lethal, and then add that back in. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, we could do that. So just knowing that we have about 20 minutes here, is it more beneficial to figure out that edge case, or should we look at the other snakes?
Other snakes?
I think just for I would personally prefer to do avoiding other snakes so that we can play with that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do that. And if we can get your snake surviving against itself, would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what? Ooh, that's fun.
You can add your snake twice. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Don't collide with others. That seems like the right thing.
So this is going to be gamestate.board.snakes. I think is the object. No, sorry. Yes, gamestate.board.snakes. Or is it just gamestate.snakes? I can't remember how the object works. Sorry, I've gone mad.
Let's go look. Gamestate.board.snakes.
Board.snakes, perfect.
Okay, so this one we're going to do a snakes.for-each.
Yep.
And we'll get a snake. And then inside of here, we have the snake body.
Correct.
And that's going to be snake dot.
Body.
So each snake has a body.
Yep.
Okay. And then we want to do snake body for each. And for that one, I think we can just do this whole thing again.
That looks good.
Oh my goodness, we really need to abstract that out. Okay, it's fine. This is fine. So this then will make it so that so effectively this will very quickly kill us as soon as there's more food on the board. And that's okay.
How so?
Well, because if we get locked in, we're just going to repeat the thing, and it sounds like this will lead to like a no move. I'm also wondering. I have an idea for a hack on this, where we could change the value if it's for food to food, and then
just have a different way to check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's clever.
That might be a way to do it where we don't have to like run the logic all
run through again. Yeah.
But let's see. Yeah, let's do this. We'll let's just run this and see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
So let me restart.
Yeah, we need to create a new game.
And then
you move the food check last and just skip if there's only one option left. That's also a good hack. Yeah, for sure.
Also a good hack. Yeah. Okay, so this one should let me do it.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, we can do that way. Yeah, let's see what happens in here. I wonder what snake is going to put you up against.
Me.
Yourself. Okay, cool.
Yeah, run away. Run away, snake.
It's hard to tell. Then you get close together so we can see if it's working. I guess it looks like it's working. Oh, one's getting food. Both getting food.
Yeah. Oh, don't touch.
Well, a beautiful
Did
dance.
I make it? I made it.
Nice.
First try.
Plowing through the challenges.
Okay, so the last one is find food.
Yeah, and I think in
199 turns. Make sure to eat.
And I think they crank down the food spawn in this one, so there's not as much food on the map.
So what we would need to do for that one then is effectively an else statement.
Yeah.
Where
if we're messing around with this, do you want to take the opportunity to apply one of the hacks? So we still have 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's try it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to try. Okay. I think what we can do is we can do the food check, and Jacob's idea might be better than mine because I think it last. Yeah, I think it's less work.
That'll probably be easier.
So let's do that. So I'm going to take all of this, and we'll move this down to finding food. And then if we are healthy, we don't look for food. If we, so then here we would need something that was like, let's see,
what are you adding?
I'm thinking about so we basically, if all the other options are false, then we don't want to mark this as false. So
I think Jacob's idea is actually even higher level than this, which is, but because this is now last, right? Mm-hmm. So if you get to the food block and there's only one possible move, just skip the food block.
Oh yeah, that's even easier. Okay, so if possible moves dot. What's the right filter?
My JavaScript's not good enough to know how you check for how many. Yeah, filter and then do a length on the result. I guess
the move is move. I guess it would just be like move. I can simplify that, can't I? I can just drop this right in. Dot length equals 1.
Okay.
It would be greater than 1. So if we have more than one option, then we'll do this block.
Yeah.
We're going to find out if that actually works.
Okay.
Right, that should work. And then here, what we should get is if So then, oh, geez, we really do need to make this.
Yeah, folks are pointing out it's an object, so we can't just do Boolean. It have to be object.key. Object.key is possible moves filter.
Values, right? Because we would want the...
Yeah.
Okay, so object.values, and then we'll filter over those. Okay. And if there's more than one true, then we'll do this block of logic. Otherwise, we are going to take this whole block, run it again,
but
but just do the whole thing backwards.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, wait. For this one, would we want to... should I set the other ones to false as well? Like force it to eat the food?
So yes. Yeah, that's yes. Genius. Yeah.
Okay, so then to do that, I can just take all of these.
Oh my God, someone's actually using multi-cursor.
Okay, so we'll do this way. And then here, we want left to be true. Here we want up to be true.
This is very satisfying to me.
And here we want down to be true.
The great thing about this is like I cannot tell you the amount of like, you know, these like beginning snake journeys that like I've done over the course of the years. And every time it always ends up different. Even this like basic steps, they always end up different and interesting. It's so cool.
Okay. So this one, theoretically speaking, should start out food avoidant.
Yep.
Get to 25 health and then get real hungry.
Yes.
And then stop
and along
eating
the
again.
way, it should no longer get stuck in corners because of food while it's avoiding.
Theoretically speaking.
Straight into the challenge. Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, why test? Test in production. That's what I always say.
Yeah, sure. We've got that jest test built into this and we haven't touched it. Don't need to.
Okay, so it's not eating. It's going to
get in there.
Oh, why'd you run out of what?
Should we look at the array?
Why was up possible?
Up true.
Why would you have done that? I suppose it's possible that I did something silly here. So if game health is over 25.
That's not where... Oh, I see. Okay.
That could, because that's the only place where we set something to true, right? This is again the issue we had before,
where you were having weird issues in that top row. Can we check the wall avoidance code just to make sure there's not a problem with the wall avoidance code for this case?
Board.
No, don't hit yourself. So this one, yeah.
Board
My
height.
head Y, board height -1. Up equals false. Board height -1 is correct, right? So it's
should be
starting at 0. So the board height is 11. So this is 10. Okay.
Okay. So this, I wish there was a way to get it to replay.
Y starts 0, 0 is the bottom left of the board.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way to get the replay unless we had the JSON state.
Okay, we're going to try this again.
Just going to do it right out the gate now. Okay, so once we hit turn 75, we should be good. Okay. No. This is a problem. It doesn't. If it's never adjacent to the food, when there's so little food on the
Oh, interesting. Okay. So we'll have to get it. We'll have to make it more.
We'll have to look ahead. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We can. I kind of wanted to reproduce this wall smash. Okay, so it just did the wall smash right out of the gate. So
which doesn't like that top row. Oh, but up was false this time.
Up was not false. Wait a minute. Did it time out? I think it might have timed out because this.
If we didn't get a move back.
This doesn't look like it ran another game.
Maybe that's what. Oh no. Is this running out of ngrok stuff again?
Maybe. Let's check. So on ngrok, I have 6 Wait, no.
Oh no, that's
Did you time out on me? 116 milliseconds. Let's just retry and see. It might have just been a timeout. Moved out of bounds. So is that a timeout?
timeout would be 0 milliseconds. So something's getting returned. But like that might not be from you. It's getting a response, but it might be getting a response from something on the ngrok tunnel. Try actually just going to the ngrok URL in the browser and see what it's giving us.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, let's try that. So I'm going to go to this one. Nope, not that. Here.
So it's working.
Cannot get move.
Oh, okay, it's a post.
It's a post. Okay.
Yeah.
I can make that work. We can.
You need to give it a game state.
Oh, that's right. I can't get it to just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't care. We don't have time for that. We've got like 4-ish minutes. So what we can do instead is what we did last time, which is just restart the tunnel.
Yeah.
And reset the game. So here's our snake. And I can edit it somewhere.
Need to get
Gonna go out this way.
Yeah.
Here's the edit. There's the ngrok tunnel. We're gonna save that. We're gonna go back out here. We're gonna retry, and let's see if we can get it to do the thing.
There we go. I was scared for a minute there. It went up for so many turns.
Don't starve.
And it's hanging out in the top.
Don't starve, little friend. Don't starve. Don't starve. Get the food. Come on.
Oh, it keeps.
Wait, it moved out of bounds. It did the thing again. So this time it moved left. True.
So what's interesting about that? Yeah. So
that would have been
right was false is correct. So it's not that code.
Board with snake, but why is the snake X and Y wrong?
Huh.
Interesting.
Wait, hang on. Is it wrong? No,
yeah.
The board.
Because the snake head should have been 0, 3. And it's showing 4, 3, which would have been by any estimation that's incorrect.
Yeah. That's really weird.
Wait, is it off center? Like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4?
No. It's definitely bottom left. Yeah, it's definitely bottom left.
Snaky. Do I have a Y where an X could be? That is absolutely possible. Let's check. Snake X.
My head.x.
Okay, so my head.x. And then.
And where's my
head.x left? That's the one that we were looking for.
Yeah.
My head.x board width.
Yeah.
Right? So these are all correct.
And so the only other thing I can think of is our health. There is no way that the part of the code where we start setting things to true should have been active in that game state, right? And even then, that wouldn't have interfaced with why that wouldn't have affected why the snake.x was wrong. I wonder, actually, can you quickly look at the turn for that move?
Here?
Yeah. So, in the console. So that was turn 80. What turn were we just looking at in the console?
79.
Was it 79 in the console, or did we stop
75.
logging?
We stopped logging. It just timed out or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's just that my snake is flaky because I'm running it through ngrok.
Maybe this would be a new ngrok problem though. I haven't seen this before.
I mean, I am running like a live stream off of one computer and ngrok off a second computer, and but at least it. Come on, little friend. Come on, little friend. ngrok. Do it. Do the thing. Oh, I bet it timed out. So that was turn 121. How far did we get this time? 120 undefined. So it like failed or timed out or something. So
this was a case of you had no moves left. So this is because it was in the corner, right?
It was in the corner.
Yeah. Was it completely? Oh, it should have had down. Why? It hosed
itself.
Yeah. So okay, this is actually a really quick one we can do. Your tail.
I think we might be out of time, unfortunately. we got 5 minutes. So I think we're gonna call this one. Like I'm pretty happy about this. Like we got so much further with this than I thought we were going to. The fact that that we have a snake that can keep itself alive for around 100
over 100 turns
when the server works.
What a problem.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just call this one. Like we saw it work. I think my Engrok has gone down again. So whatever that is, it's probably
worked
something
out
silly,
it was that, and didn't end the stream thinking that there was some unsolvable bug. We know what the problem is, right?
But so for reasonably low general effort, we were able to get the basics of this game up and running. And I can definitely see how deep this rabbit hole goes. Where the next thing I want to do is I want to look at like, where is the nearest snake and how close is it to food, and can I beat it there, and is it big enough that if I do beat it there, I could then turn and bite its head. That kind of thing is very
right now we're only looking at things adjacent to us, and we're already at the point where we need to be finding food that's a little bit further away. Someone mentioned nav meshes, where like A-star pathfinding algorithms, that kind of stuff comes in.
Yeah. I mean, what a fun, this is a fun project. It's a fun game. I can definitely see this is a wonderful way to learn different programming concepts too, because it's collaborative, it's interactive. It looks like, seeing all the just on this stream, how many Battlesnake players showed up to help and play around. Like, so thank you so much I saw Penelope. I think there was another username that was like 2-1 or something like
210, that's Brad. That's the founder. Nice.
Thank you, Brad, for being here. This looks great. So for somebody who wants to get further into this, where should they look? Like, what would you recommend outside of what we did today?
Sure. So the challenges go quite some depth. So there's lots of things that take you along. The Discord is a great place to be. So there's a channel in the Discord called Snake Dev, and that's where lots of the folks hang out and just chat about what they're building. Lots of snakes are open source. So if you're familiar with the concept of awesome lists on GitHub, I
didn't realize there were so many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I was looking at this one and I was like, oh, that's the end of the challenges. Definitely didn't.
It goes quite far.
Super fun. Okay, so then there's a bunch of stuff down here. There's a Discord. Looks like there's Twitch and all sorts of good things down here. Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of the good snakes are open source as well. So if you're familiar with the idea of a GitHub awesome list, like a repo just of lists, there's awesome Battlesnake, which I think is owned by Extagon. I'll throw it in chat. So if you want to look at, I think it's this. Some like quite advanced snakes. There's some source there for some past tournament winners. And then, coming up, we do have the Fall League. So that is going to be registration for that is open. So you can join that. And, it's ranked like the current one. So starts September 24th. Thank you for bringing that up. And there'll be a ladder. So basically how this works is there's a ladder. You enter a snake, you gain points. Towards the end, we take the top X snakes from a bunch of brackets, and then we run a live tournament with them, and then there's prizes and stuff. So if you're looking for a chance to get into it, jump in.
That sounds like so much fun. Joe, thank you so much for being here today. Let's do a quick shout out to our sponsors. So as always, we have had live captioning here today. We've had Jordan with us. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being here. Jordan's from White Coat Captioning. And that is made possible through the support of our sponsors, Netlify, Fauna, Hasura, Auth0, all kicking in to make this show more accessible to more people. So thank you very much to all of them. While you're checking out the site, make sure you go and take a look at the schedule. We've got so many amazing things coming up. Please go and look at that. It's going to be so fun. I am just bubbling over with excitement for how many fun things are coming up on the stream. With that, I think we're going to call this one a wrap. I'm going to go find somebody to raid. Joe, any parting words before we call this one a done deal?
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your wonderful community for chatting along. It's been a lot of fun.
It was an absolute blast. Thank you so much. We will see you all next time.